Gemara in Masechet Brachot, page 32 says, the reason why Am Yisrael sinned with the golden calf is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them too much gold. That was Moshe Rabbeinu's argument against HaKadosh Baruch Hu not to kill Am Yisrael. He says, it's your fault, he says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They were fighting like husband and wife. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's relationship with Moshe Rabbeinu was unique and unlike anything else that ever existed or ever will exist. Moshe Rabbeinu comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a complaint and says, it's your fault. You gave them too much gold. You gave them gold in Egypt. You gave them gold at Yam Suf. You gave them gold after Yam. You gave them gold everywhere. They wanted to do something with it. They built a golden calf. Don't destroy them. It's not completely their fault. If you didn't give them all the blessings, how are they going to build a golden calf? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm not going to destroy them. I'm not going to destroy them. In so many words, not that it's Hashem's fault, but there's an argument here that you're arguing for my children and I love you for it. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave this generation that we are in more financial wealth than any other Jewish generation aside from the generation of Shlomo HaMelech. The average Jew is doing much better today than their grandparents could ever imagine. Certainly there are ones that are extraordinarily wealthy. But even the average Jew here in America, in Western society, is doing extraordinarily well. But yet when you tell them, listen, we have Avrichim. We have Avrichim in Eretz Yisrael. Some of them are doing well. Some of them are financially settled. But some of them, literally, we need to help them every week and send them $500 so they can buy groceries. So they can buy diapers. And people say, why don't they get a job? Why didn't they get a job? Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give you a job? What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu leave the world exist for? The Torah that the Avrech is learning, or you working at some company? Who does the HaKadosh Baruch Hu keep the world running for? You, or the one that learns Torah for 15 hours a day? Im lo briti yomam v'alayla chukot shamayim lo samti, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. If not for my Torah, day and night, the rules of the world will cease to exist. The world exists only because those Avrechim are learning Torah, not because you're working on Wall Street, or you're working on Main Street, or you have some type of entrepreneurship idea. That's not why the world exists. Instead of asking, why don't they get a job? You should ask yourself, why don't I commit part of my income to helping them continue learning even more? But instead of using the gold that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you to finance more Torah, all he does is give you ideas to repeat the same mistake that was made 3,334 years ago with the golden calf. You have too much gold. I have frum people sending me more questions about their stock portfolios, real estate accounts, and their theories about different precious metals and commodities than I have them asking me halachic questions. People are much more interested in managing their portfolio in this world than managing their olam haba. You ask the person, how much time you learn each day? How much time? You say, I have tough time learning. I understand you have a tough time learning. That's why you're in the mortgage business. That's why you're in the stock business. That's why you're in the grocery store business, pharmaceutical business, all types of businesses. I understand you're not a learner, you're not an avrech. But how much time are you learning? You're still a Jew. You have questions about pharmaceuticals. You have questions about different things in regards to business. You're a commodity expert because you've decided you are after investing in the market for 5 years. Wall Street executives, 30 years in the business, are not experts, but you are because you have internet access. So how much time do you learn Torah? I got put in there. I get maybe a shiur here and there on the way to work. A shiur here and there on the way to work. What, a half hour? 40 minutes out of 24 hours? So you're telling me that you think it's okay to be a religious Jew where HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you 24 hours per day, of which you use 8 hours to sleep, 8 to 10 hours to work, leaving you somewhere between another 6 to 8 hours left, and out of the 6 hours that's left, 5.5 hours of it is just complete nonsense. Bathroom, eating, drinking, looking at your stock portfolio, managing some real estate you think you have, and becoming some type of analyst of some type of industry and watching YouTube videos. And out of that, you somehow fit in. You squeezed in that half hour of Torah, and you think that's being a religious Jew? You think HaKadosh Baruch Hu is happy with this partnership? Is that why you think he took us out of Egypt? Is that why you think he gave us the Torah at Mount Sinai where the whole world heard what happened? Is that why you think he allowed us to overcome all of the biggest enemies that ever existed in history? All of the biggest civilizations, all of the most powerful armies were always the enemies of the Jewish people. Whether it was the Assyrians or the Babylonians, the Turks, the Spaniards, the Nazis, the Romans, the Greeks, all of the biggest armies were always enemies of the Jews, yet they're all gone in history books, and we are here. You think that's because you learn a shiur maybe sometimes when you have time and you're actually paying attention for a half hour a day? That's why you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it? For that half hour a day? So what? So you can collect and accumulate more gold and tell people your net worth has increased by another 50% in the last 12 months? So you can tell people that your last stock pick was a success, and somehow you've decided you're a stock guru, giving people stock tips as if you're giving them Tic Tacs? Is that why you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu did all of that? For you to be an investor? For you to be an entrepreneur? There's no problem with entrepreneurship. There's no problem with making money. But once you have made that money into the gold of the golden calf, you have forgotten why you're Jewish. You have forgotten why you're Jewish. And many people will consider themselves frum according to all perceptions. But their hunger for money and money issues is in such a addiction that their mentality is more concerned with their stocks and real estate of this world than the mitzvot and the chesed of Olam Haba. They're building themselves villas, empires in a temporary world, whereas in the next world they could only hope for maybe a bathroom. How much can you possibly accumulate in this world and take with you to the next one? But yet when you tell them, you say, you're right. But what can I do? What can you do? At the same time, HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided all of these abilities, all of these new ways for you to make more gold, for you to make more money. He also gave you abilities to make more mitzvot with that gold. That gold should give you a certain amount of freedom. If you have enough money to do whatever you want, that means you have enough time to do whatever you want. Because you could simply buy somebody that could do what you want to do and use that time to learn Torah. If you have money and a consistent income, that means you have the ability to finance Torah in addition to your learning. And look at the Torah as a business. No different than your regular business. Everyone wants the funnel system, the business system where you have different incomes coming from different ways. Everyone understands it. Everyone wants it. But yet, when you tell them that if you invest into kiruv, it's the best funnel you can possibly ever imagine. Because while your funnel in this world doing your Amazon business and all of the other things that you're going to do is going to give you gold in this world for a certain amount of time that's certainly not permanent. Because something will change and you will have to recreate yourself as all economies change. And all times change, and all blessings change. But the blessing from helping another Jew do TeShuva, that doesn't change. You invest that money into helping Jews, like the tzaddik that we showed today, that pure neshama that lived several years ago, has a descendant in the world that told us thank you for helping him put on tefillin today, or yesterday it was. The Rishon LeZion of the previous generations has a grandson in this generation that had to have help to put on tefillin. Different tzaddikim, and I call them tzaddikim not because they're extremely righteous, but rather because of the neshama that they have and where they come from. When they hear the truth and how they change and how they overcome different things. All types of families. We have people that are from the families of the Rishonim, from 900 years ago, as students. We have descendants of the Chazon Ish, descendants of the Ramban, descendants of different Gdolim from the previous generations watching these shurim, all because a few people want to help us invest in this generation in order to build eternity. But if you look at the world today, most of the wealth is not going towards kiruv. It's not going towards the best funnel system. It's going towards another possession, another physicality. Build another shul, even though the 5 other giant buildings in the neighborhood don't even have a minyan. Buy another Sefer Torah, even though the shul already has 100 Sifrei Torah and they can only use one at a time. And you're lucky if you use 5 a year. More seudot, as if people don't have food in the house. More parties, as if they create any mitzvot. More publicity, more events. But how many Jews are actually doing TeShuva from all of this? I'd be surprised, if any. And the reality is, Rabotai Karim, when a person looks at helping another Jew, not just do tefillin, but give him a book to read, give him a USB to listen to, give him the tools to take that mitzvah that he just did and build himself a new life, a new eternity. Once that person takes that challenge and starts doing mitzvot, starts putting on tefillin every day, starts keeping Shabbat every week, starts learning Torah every day, while he works in plumbing and in air conditioners and in carpets and in all the other industries that are out there, but he's learning some Torah. And he's doing the mitzvot. Whoever was responsible for the cost of that tefillin, for the cost of that USB, for the cost of that book or books, that person just acquired themselves a bigger share in Olam Haba than they have for themselves from their own mitzvot. Meaning, you can work your whole life, learn Torah, do mitzvot, do chesed, do amazing things. Best case scenario, you got yourself Olam Haba. You help another Jew do TeShuva, you now have another 310 worlds. Meaning, the reward for helping another one of a Kadosh Baruch Hu's children come back home is much greater than even your own mitzvot. This is not to say a person shouldn't do mitzvot for themselves, because obviously you're not going to have the merit to help others if you're not doing it yourself. HaShem hates hypocrites. But the point being is that when you see that people are so focused on the funnel systems and the different ways to make money in this world, buy the house and rent the side apartment, buy this particular company and break it up and sell it into pieces, do this and make money that way, do that and make money this way, all types of funnels, all types of systems, all types of investments. It's perfectly fine, so long as you're also investing just as much into Olam Haba. And don't tell me, no, I do a little bit. Because then the follow-up question is, what is a little bit? Do you do a little bit in business also? Because if you do a little bit in Olam Haba, why are you doing a lot of it in this world? If your portfolio in this world is $1 billion, $1 million, $10 million, however much money a person has, but your portfolio in the next world is $500 a month. How do you justify that? How do you justify that? In the day of judgment, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking at you in the face and asking you, that portfolio of houses that you built, the portfolio of companies that you bought, the portfolio of different industries you were involved in, they're all back in the world you just left. The portfolio of mitzvot, the portfolio of neshamot that you could have saved are almost empty. How do you plead? How do you justify? What are you going to say on that day? What are you going to say when HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking at you in your face and is asking you, why did you invest every bit of gold that I gave you in a temporary world? What is your answer going to be? Oh, I needed money to eat. Did HaKadosh Baruch Hu create you to starve you? Oh, I needed to pay for a house. Did HaKadosh Baruch Hu make you homeless? Oh, I needed a car. Did HaKadosh Baruch Hu force you to walk everywhere? Oh, I needed a break. Who gave you the ability to do that? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person that does not learn Torah is a person that is disconnected from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and forgot who gave him the blessing. This, Rabotai, is what Moshe Rabbeinu is warning the most religious people in the history of mankind. He's not reminding secular people of all of this. He's not talking to people that are haters of God. He's talking to religious people. And he's telling them, you are one footstep away from losing everything. How? You forget what the source of all your blessing is.
אני מברך את הרבנים, הרב ירון ראובן, הרב אפרים כחלון, ראשי ארגון בעזרת השם, שהלכו בפי עליון, שעלו מעלה מעלה, יהיה להם ברכה והצלחה. הקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא בישועות ליבם לטובה ולברכה, שבכל מה שיפנו ישכילו ויצליחו, יזכו לעשות כאלה וכאלה, הודיעו תורה לאדירה, אמן ואמן.